Welcome to this episode of the Ninth Grade Experience podcast. We are here in the middle of the summer, and we're going to try out a couple of different types of episodes here. And we're going to try to focus this week and some weeks coming up with EHS graduates and kind of getting them to look back on their freshman years and seeing how they've progressed, what the freshman year meant to them, and kind of giving you some tips and strategies and letting you see some of the success that some of our EHS graduates have had. So we're starting this week with Lisa MacDonald. Lisa was a former student that I had back in 2011 and 12. We were not as a freshman, but as a sophomore. And we were talking before we started recording that it's been 10 years since Lisa's freshman year, and neither one of us could believe that it's been that long. So Lisa, thanks a lot for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So before we get into our first question, if you wouldn't mind just giving, we're going to talk a lot about your story, but if you wouldn't mind just giving the listeners just a little taste of who you are at the start here.
All right. So as you all know, my name is Lisa MacDonald. I graduated in Emmaus High School in 2014, and I am a Cedar Crest College student majoring in art therapy, minoring in psych, and hopefully minoring Spanish, since I am half Dominican, so I am a little bit bilingual, but I would like to improve my Spanish. And I'm also a local artist, so I like to consider myself an abstract motivational artist, which is very unique. Abstract artist that creates positive motivational art pieces, and also a motivational speaker for the youth. I basically speak about how to have a positive mindset when going through a difficult challenge, and I like to speak to young adults and teenagers. So I do a lot of different things when it comes to being an artist and a motivational speaker, and a student too.
So one of the reasons we have Lisa on too is this upcoming weekend. She's having an art show at the McCungy Park outside, and we'll talk a little bit more detail about that near the end. Mm-hmm. But last year in a different class, Lisa came in and spoke to a group of students, and we were chatting afterwards, and we were having lunch with some of the other teachers, and Lisa had such a great message, and I was thinking of a way to get her onto the podcast so she could share it. And now that we're going to try to talk about with some of our EHS graduates, we thought this would be a great time here over the summer and to hopefully get the word out about her show coming up. So you're going to get to know Lisa and get to know some of the things behind what she's really interested in and what motivates her. But first, Lisa, I don't know how many of these you've listened to, but every time we have a new guest on, we always ask that guest what their ninth grade experience was like. So I did tell you about this beforehand. So you had to dig all the way back to 2010, 2011. And can you tell everyone what your ninth grade experience was like at Emmaus High School?
Well, at first, I really enjoyed Lower McCungy Middle School, and I was sad to leave the middle school. I love the teachers. I love everything about that school. And I was like, no, I don't want to leave. So entering in ninth grade, it was nervous. It was kind of excited because I had the friends that I had from middle school going to the same high school as me, Emmaus High School. So I was like, all right, I got some friends. I know some people. So I'm totally new here. I was nervous because I'm a type of person that I don't like new changes. And I'm really nervous because of because I don't know, changes was very hard for me, especially because I have a learning disability. So it was hard for me to adapt myself into a new environment, especially when it comes to learning. So I'm like, I don't know how high school is going to be for me. And I was also afraid of the seniors. I didn't know what the seniors were going to do because I heard a lot of rumors that they will throw things at you, water balloons, I don't know, some crazy stuff. But I mean, nothing happened. Everything went well. And I took a time to adapt, but it was good. It was really good.
So like I said at the beginning here, I met Lisa during her sophomore year. So I got to see her after she had that year of experience, that year of learning. Looking back on it now, Lisa, was there something that may have happened during your freshman year, or something that, a teacher or somebody that you remember, or some event that kind of began to shape what the rest of your high school career would look like and what you tried to pursue? Or was there something that you just remember that stood out about that freshman year?
It would be the art classes. I've absolutely loved being in art classes, and just the teachers overall is what really amazed me. Um, but yeah, the art classes is what really got me feel like I'm in my comfort zone. I'm in my relaxed zone, no judgment, nothing. So being in that and really exploring the different artworks in the school was so beautiful because it made me feel like the student is, we're all connected, teachers, students, and everything. So that's what made me feel good about the high school when I first went in and first started going to take art classes there. That was the most, I would say, who attracted me the most.
When was it, like during high school, that you kind of figured out that art was going to be the path, your potential career path? We talked about all the different things that you're involved with, and if you look at you're on Facebook, and it says your title is abstract motivational artist, which you talked about there. So you talk about those freshman year art classes. When was it during high school that you kind of thought, hey, I can make a potential career out of this?
Well, at first, throughout the school year, I was really thinking like, oh, it'd be cool to be an art teacher and everything, and just like, I don't know. But I think it's when I started going for art clubs. I think I was a vice president of the art club the one time. I think it was my junior year. And that really got me like, wow, I can be able to do and kind of somehow lead the students and stuff like that. And that's what made me felt like I could be able to take over. But there's times that when I wanted to express my ideas and my creative side, because there's some things that I wanted to express, I was nervous too because I was afraid to get judged or or not, people won't like my ideas. So I kind of stayed back a little bit and just observed. So I think what made me wanting to be an artist is because I wanted to kind of be my own boss. I wanted to be I have ideas and it needs to come out, and my art needs to come out, like needs to be out there pretty much. So yeah.
And that's one of those things that I think, throughout the whole time of knowing you, like that was always something that I remember, is that you did have these ideas, and you always kind of had a vision for things, and you kind of always knew what you wanted to do. You were always, opinionated, and you never really kind of let anyone hold that back from you. And you were, always willing to talk and speak up in class, and kind of always defend yourself or defend your positions. So it's interesting that, like, as you've kind of went through high school and you saw that like art was the way that you would be able to kind of let that out and, help, yourself and other people to kind of, and to just see that as a positive way and positive thing to be able to do.
Yes, I always, since I was a little girl, never changed myself at this time. I've always been the type that sticks out, that never follows the trend, that never fits in. I think that's why I get a lot of people having problems with me, because I'm so different. And it's okay to be different. It's just that there's times in high school, there's a lot of people who stick in the group and who don't want to be different because they're afraid to be judged. Me, I don't really care. I'm just myself. And I think that's the artist side in me, that I like to be unique. And I have a very expressive mindset when it comes to creativity. And I've never changed that. And I think what you said was point on about myself, which is, it's true, because if I have an idea, I'm going to let it out,
So one of the things I know, when you came in to speak to the group last year, and I've seen this, it comes up in your artwork every once in a while, and the things that you post, and you even talked about it earlier, and you're pretty open about it, is that you did have, a disability. You still have the disability, your learning disability, but you have really worked hard to overcome that. Like, you are currently in Cedar Crest. You were at LTRI-C to start. You finished your credits there. You're at Cedar Crest now, majoring with 2 potential minors. How did you, when you were in high school, when you kind of learned more about your own disability, how did that help and impact the rest of your high school career? Like when you came in as a ninth grader, did you know a lot about your disability? And then how did that progress throughout your time at Emmaus High School?
When I was in ninth grade, I know for a fact that I didn't understand myself. I didn't understand why I have this difficulty. I've had this confusion in myself through the whole time, starting from elementary to like middle school and then high school. I was still kind of confused. I just go with the flow of what I need. I need to go to IEP meetings, English as a second language, ESL, since I am bilingual, and speech classes or speech therapy classes. I just go with it. I'm just like, if I gotta go, I gotta do it, you know? But I
Yeah.
never really acknowledge of like, why do I have this problem? Why do I have a difficult time learning a certain subject and have a hard time comprehending things quickly like other students? So I think what made me become more than I ever thought I would be as an artist was my art. I've struggled a lot with my senior year, and with understanding myself and trying to make friends and all those things. I went to LTRC and I needed to go for counseling because I was just going through a lot of flashbacks at night, and I can't sleep, so I couldn't sleep. So I went to counseling, and counseling was the best thing I've ever done. And LTRC is the best place to start, especially for someone who has learning disability or any kind of disability. It's a good start. I definitely recommend that. But yeah, so it was counseling, and then it was also my art together that helped me learn about myself and become more aware of like, okay, this is the things I have to do. And then also going to a disability advisor and talking to her, and then going to counselor, it really helped me discover like, okay, this is who I am, this is what I have, this is what I need to work on. And it all connected very well. And then that's what made me realize, okay, so I do a little things step by step when it comes to my art and my artist life. I didn't do things too quickly, but I try to like say, if I did this, what happened if I do this? And then I keep going and going and going up, and I'm thinking, man, I have a learning disability, but look at what I can do. I can do so much, you know? So I impress myself. I am like proud of myself.
And and that day that you came back, we all expressed how proud we were of you, because for you to be able to take what you learned at Emmaus and then kind of really build on it, like you've grown so much and have been able to do so many things. We were talking before we started recording about, for your upcoming art show, that you were ordering t-shirts. And I know that may sound like, not that big of a deal, but you were saying that you had to coordinate it. You had to, be in contact with people. Like you're basically running a small business for yourself. And to be able to, somebody as a freshman, when you came in and weren't very confident about yourself and confident about your learning too, here you are, like trying to figure out the number of t-shirts you need to, it's like some bizarro math problem that you learn about in freshman year, but now you're actually living the bizarro math problem of like, if I order X number of shirts at this cost, then I need to get this many sizes, like how many shirts do I need? So it was really interesting to kind of hear you say that. And then just to watch like where you've grown to, like you see, if, hopefully everyone checks out your Facebook or Instagram pages after we're done, and we'll plug those at the end. But, to see that you're running basically a small business for yourself, and to gain that confidence. At what point along the way did you said you started believing in yourself, believing in your art, believing in all the other stuff, but at what point did you believe in yourself, like not only like internally like that, but like, hey, I can manage this. Like I can make money off this. I can continue to make this into my career.
It was LTRC that made me realize, wow, I can be my own leader. Like I can be my own boss, with my art and with my ideas. Because in high school, I was a little bit nervous to be a little bit expressive with my ideas. I was more expressive with my ideas to the teachers in high school because I got along with you all.
Yeah.
And it was hard because I know I was so different. And I think a lot of students have a difficult time understanding, like, my differences. So yeah. But in LTRC, I joined a lot of clubs. I went to the psych club, the art club, the entrepreneur club. Entrepreneur club was something that transformed my life because the advisor, he saw so much potential in me with my work that he gave me ideas. He helped me set things up. He actually wanted me to host an event, which these business speakers, they come in and they speak about their business and how it's like to be a business owner. And what I've done was I hosted, introduced them, because my advisor, the entrepreneurial advisor, loves my positivity, loves the way I speak. And so he wanted me to host, introduce each speaker. And then when the speaker is speaking, I paint. I paint about their journey as a business owner. So I was a host and I was a live painter at the same time.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
It was nerve-wracking because I'm like, I never did anything this big, but everybody absolutely loved it. Some people even thought, like, they didn't know I was a student here. They thought I was just some host or some person that something that's not even in LTRC, you know?
You're like a professional host of some sort.
I was just like, oh my God, it's my first time. But it's amazing to see that the professors and the advisors and teachers can see so much potential in you that you don't even see as much as they do. So I tend to believe them. And then I'm like, all right, well, let's try, It's just, I get stuck in my own mind. So it's hard for me to realize, like, what the truth is. And then when you have a good support group and people come to tell you, like, hey, you're doing great, like, you should do this, I could see you doing this, it opens your mind and it makes you feel like, okay, well, someone believes in me, so let me do it.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's really interesting what you're talking about, because it's the same stuff we've talked now, for 2 seasons on this podcast about getting yourself involved, trying out different clubs, finding things that interest you, and you did that at Emmaus, but then you go to LTRC and you join all those different organizations, and it opened up all sorts of ideas and different possibilities for you. So, at the end, we'll ask you, like, for what your one tip for incoming ninth graders will be. But I think one of the things that you've talked a lot about is making the most of your opportunities and really making your own opportunities. And I think you've really shown that. And I think, leading into it now, so your brand, we'll call it your brand. I know you built it up.
Yes.
It's Imperfection is Beautiful.
Yes.
And I know last year when you talked, one of the messages that you had is that everyone has a disability. So I think you really try to talk about this idea that, everyone is different, and, no one's really the perfect individual, but we all have this inner beauty. And I think you kind of try to tie that together with all the different things you do. So how did you decide upon, Imperfection is Beautiful as kind of like your brand and, all the different things that you're doing surrounding it?
What it all started is, my counselor helped me kind of start loving and just kind of made me be aware. He gave me a lot of different tips and ideas, and I'm very thankful for the counselor that we have in LTRC. But yeah, I think it's my art. I know my art. My art was, it was a hobby, but then it came to be therapeutic for me because it made me feel like I can express myself without judgment. I can be whoever I want to be through art. And that's what makes me the happiest. And my art has shown me so much that it made me realize, you know what? It's time to let these things that I'm putting on my art out to the world and let them know, like, this is what we need. This is what we need to understand, that we're different. We're made to be different. And we all have some kind of weaknesses. We all have some kind of disability in us. We're all human. We're not made to be the same, right? So
Yeah.
imperfection is beautiful, was what represents myself and represents my art. And my art style is abstract. So abstract is very imperfect with different shapes and sizes and everything, you know? It's not straight, perfect, linear lines, you know? So that's what I like to connect with myself and my art. So every pieces I create, I paint is what is coming out of me. So when someone purchases a painting from me, it's a painting that is from, well, obviously from me, but it's a part of me. It's my personality out there. And it's a message that's coming out of my heart, because I think we need something, especially the youth. We need some positivity. We need some love out there, you know, to remind ourselves that we are beautiful no matter of all the imperfections we have. We are still beautiful.
Is there is there a piece, or is there something that you've created that you would say is like a signature piece, or something that when you create it, you're like, wow, this is really awesome? I know everything that you create, you probably think is awesome, and a lot of it is really awesome, but is there like something that you remember creating, either whether it was for yourself or something that you sold or something that you have displayed somewhere? Like, was there one thing that you kind of thought like, this is, I've kind of reached where I want to be, and this is kind of an example of what I want to do?
Well, at first, the painting that I first created that made me an artist till this day was March 2017. I created this painting, Imperfection is Beautiful. It's just a painting with wood letters that says Imperfection is Beautiful, with an abstract background. And I'm like, this is what I'm going to call my all work, myself. It all started from there. And I think that's what transformed, just because I put that idea on the canvas, and it transformed me to do more and more and spread that message over and over again, and then create it in a graphic design. I have a graphic design that created more of a digital logo of exactly what I wanted. So I have a digital logo and a painting logo. And I bring that everywhere because it represents what I'm going to be speaking about. It represents myself. It represents my painting, my style. And I also have another painting. It's currently getting framed right now. It's called the Warrior Horse. I've created it, I think, last year. I've gone through a lot of problems. Everyone goes through problems. And it was very hard for me to cope with a lot of different situations I was going through. So I've always loved horses. I've always loved it since I was little, so that never changed. So I have this creative mindset of myself being like a warrior horse, kind of be like people say, spiritual animal or something like that. So I painted this, and then as an abstract way, I wish I had it, but I don't have it right now. And I did taking some I was in a photo shoot for it, and I kind of want to look, kind of tough and kind of like dark, not too dark, but like strong, as an independent woman, because as an artist, I've gone through so much as an independent woman, and gone through so much. So I feel like this warrior horse has made me feel like I'm strong-minded. I'm strong. I'm here. Nothing's going to stop me, So it's a good representation to see every day and every night that I am a warrior horse. Like, I am a warrior, It's just a good reminder. And I think that's what made me become very motivated. My pieces give me motivation. I think that's what changes my life, and wanted me to become a motivator speaker for people. So for the youth, I should say.
And I know that recently you had the opportunity, I don't know if it was specifically related to the warrior horse, but I know that you were just horse riding, I know, with your boy. It's still your boyfriend. And I know they were introduced in my class 9 years ago, and they're still together. So Zane would probably be mad if Zane listens and Zane doesn't hear his voice. We have to make sure that we get Zane a shout out on here. But I know that you guys recently, and you posted about riding the horse and kind of making the connection there between the warrior horse and those kinds of things. So I know that, when you're talking about the horses, that it kind of has a deeper impact on you too. And, if you're not watching this, or if you're just listening, like, you can definitely see, like, talking about the horse and talking about the warrior horse is kind of something you could see that there is a connection there. And then even when you were posting about like riding the horses, it's just, furthering that connection and furthering that, just those feelings about the motivation and that kind of stuff as well too, which is really, it's interesting. It all kind of, it's really interesting. Like a lot of your story just kind of ties together. Like the
Yeah.
horses tie together, overcoming your disability is tying into the name of your brand and all those different things as well too. So it's just really, I'm glad that we're having this conversation because hopefully the freshmen that listen or the people in our community that listen, no matter where you start as a ninth grader, you can do really amazing things. And, I don't think in your ninth grade year, you imagined yourself, maybe you did as an artist, but not as a speaker, not as somebody that would be willing to stand up in front of groups of people and, give your message. Like you also host a podcast that's called, Imperfection is Beautiful as well too. Like these are things that as a freshman in high school, I don't think you could have imagined for yourself. And here you are 10 years later and you're doing it.
I'm saying that to myself too, because I'm shocked. I even still shocked with myself, even being capable of hosting an art show at this crazy time, and everything is seemed like there's a lot of things that were like getting wonky and stuff, but I made it work. I'm the type of person that'll make things work, and
yeah.
Especially with school, sometimes we're crammed in with so much work, and I'm like, I take it day by day. I'll have anxiety. Don't get me wrong. I'll have anxiety. Even before I start to perform, do a speech or anything, I still have anxiety. That's just a natural thing that you will have. But
yeah,
just don't let your anxiety take the best of you. You know yourself and that you are capable of, and it will, trust me, it will work out towards the end. And then you'll be so dang proud of yourself. You're like, yes, I did it. You could say, yes, I did this.
So as we're getting ready to kind of wind down here, why don't we talk a little bit about your art show this weekend? It's scheduled for Sunday in July 26th. We're going to put this up on Thursday of this week. So hopefully people have a couple of days to listen to it and we'll publicize it. But if you miss it, hopefully if you listen to this later, you can, visit all the different other stuff we'll talk about. But Sunday, July 26th at 2 p.m. at MacDonald Park. So outdoors. And I know you're posting on your site that it's going to be, social distancing. There's all sorts of other precautions that you're taking too. So you had to think a lot about that stuff. But why don't you tell everyone that's listening a little bit about what your show is going to be? And I think it was is it the third year anniversary? So this is kind of the reason behind your show.
Yeah, well, this is not going to be the 3-year anniversary for the art show, because it was supposed to happen in March 21st, if I got that right, but the whole COVID-19 took over, so couldn't do it.
3 years and a couple months.
Yeah. Well, actually, for this, it's not going to be anything celebrating with the 3 year. This is just something for fun, for like kids. This is kids friendly for sure. To be outside, there's a playground next to the pavilion, and I actually made sure if it was still okay to have it. And the MacDonald, the lady who works at the MacDonald Park, she was like, yeah, this is fine. There's no problem. They actually said that they will make sure that the bathrooms are sanitized before use. I will make sure there's soap inside of the bathroom just in case, because you never know. So
True.
I will have sanitizer provided before anybody enters. I will make sure they have sanitizer there, and I will have Clorox wipes, because I don't think there's any Lysol wipes. I don't know. People go crazy. But I will make sure tables are wiped down. I'll have a tablecloth over it. And then I'll have snacks and drinks. I'll have natural tea, meaning so I'll have like tea bags, and it's gonna be soaked in for a while. So I think I call it sun tea, something like that. So yeah, something refreshment, and then I'll have snacks, and then there's gonna be some things for kids they can do. I'm also I got some free books that was given to me because I wanted to make for art therapy, I wanted to use old books that are not used anymore. So a friend of mine gave me books, but there was a lot of books that are new. So I was like, I don't want to destroy them because they're new, like Twilight and all those awesome books. So I'm going to have a table of them. They are going to be free. So anybody can help themselves. Any kids who want to read, they can have that. I'm also having t-shirts, just like we've mentioned, Imperfection is Beautiful t-shirts. And then I'll have coloring books.
Coloring books, which you created. So don't sell yourself short here. They're not just, It's not just dollar store coloring
Oh,
books. You've
yes.
created them.
Yes, I've created them. Actually, they're going to be very, very special for kids to color on because they're drawings that I've done since I was little, since I was like maybe 6, 7, 8, 10 years old. So they're going to have a really cool experience, and it's very very touching for me. And the reason why I created these coloring books is because COVID-19 and kids are bored, and I thought this was a great idea to get myself exposed, especially my drawing since I was little, because I have always wanted that to happen. So, and then what else?
Will people be able to buy some of your art pieces there as well too?
Yes. So there will be prints. I'm trying to figure out. I'm working on the prints. I'm gonna figure that out today after this. Will be prints, and then there will be paintings out for sale as well, original paintings. And then I think that's it. I think that's most of it. There might be more things, but.
So if people listen to this after the weekend and they want to kind of learn more about your art and see your art, where would you direct them to go?
So I have an Etsy account. If they want to purchase anything, I can include my Etsy account wherever you would like. I also Facebook. I have Instagram as well. So.
And it's all of that is under the Imperfection is Beautiful.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So if you're listening and you want to learn a little bit more about Lisa and all her work, there are things up there. She'll post different pictures and different stuff as well too. So you'll get a real feel on some of the stuff that she produces and things that she's selling. It seems like she's always working on something. She does a lot of Facebook Lives about, I think one of her recent things is focusing on flags from different countries and talking a little bit about those. So she's always out there trying to get the word out and, publicize herself. And we're happy here to kind of give the word out about her too. So as we finish up here, Lisa, so everyone can find you on all those different channels. So for people that are listening, freshman parents, or, basically anyone, what would be one final tip or one final thing that you would tell people, for their freshman year in high school? What would you what kind of words of wisdom would you leave them off with?
Well, I wrote it down here. Be your own best friend. Don't be your enemy, because sometimes we tend to have our mind take over ourselves, especially when we're freshmen. You can never go away. You can never get away from bullying. Bullying is always, sometimes it's always there. We try to I'm sure schools are trying to decrease it, but there's always going to be someone to hate on you, say bad comments about you. But just let you know that you cannot let those people make you feel down. You need to know that those are not true. You need to understand that they have gone through different things in their life, that they may be mad about you, Everyone has different lives. So, and then the last thing I also want to say is that be the leader of your mind. Don't let your mind be the leader of you. So you have control of your own mindset. So be in control. Don't let your mind take over yourself. So those are the 3 things I want to be saying, because I know high school is such a difficult time. Sometimes it is, sometimes it is not. But just be mindful, and yeah.
So Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. It's always great to hear from students that you've taught and seen them go on to do like really great things. And we're so, everyone that knows you from the high school is so proud of what you've been able to do and your message. And it's just, like you said so many times, it's just so positive, and it's great to be able to talk about that, especially with all the craziness going on now. Hopefully, as we enter into the school year, you're entering a school year, we're entering a school year. Hopefully that message of positivity shines through. So if you're hearing this before the 26th, go out to MacDonald Park this Sunday at 2:00. If you're hearing this after the 26th, go find her on Instagram, on Facebook, on Etsy, on everywhere else. Just, Google her and you'll see her name there. And hopefully Imperfection is Beautiful will come up. So Lisa, thanks a lot for joining us, and best of luck this weekend, and best of luck with everything.
All right. Thank you.
Let's thank our sponsor for this show, the East Penn Education Foundation. This podcast has been made possible through a $1,000 grant awarded to teachers like me each year who are attempting to do unique projects in the area of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. The foundation supports programs that put learning in motion by giving students the tools they need to think actively in a complex and changing world. You can follow them on Facebook at EPSD Education Foundation, on Twitter at EPSD EdFound, or on Instagram at EPSD Ed Foundation. Now on to the show.